Women generally want a man that's going to be present with them, that can actively listen, that can lead, that can chill out and have some fun with her, and that can fuck well, and that is not a social liability to be around. So he's calibrated, right? He can hang out and she's not going to feel like, oh, this guy doesn't get it. And, dresses decently and grooms himself and smells fine. And that's about it, right? And that's doable for everybody. And you don't find that out until you put yourself in front of lots of different women and start dating lots of women. And otherwise it's easy to presume that, oh yeah, okay, it's only the celebrities or the gangster rich cool guys that get the girls.
Can you share a bit also, like you just mentioned, the patterns of not valuing yourself or self-worth, where they don't believe that they're valuable enough for this party?
Yeah.
Can you just give a little bit of like, how do you help guys with that?
Yeah.
Specifically.
There's multiple layers to this, right? In terms of like feeling worthy as a man, that can be, and in a way should be, a lifelong process. I absolutely still have insecurities, and I always have as I've gone through this process, and that's driven me to investigate all levels of my consciousness through lots of psychedelic plant medicine, through martial arts, through therapy, through performance. Like I put myself out there in all sorts of ways. Because I want to explore what is my potential and possibilities in myself, and also because I want to heal myself and become, more and more at ease with myself as I have like over time. Definitely the thing that drove me early on, and I was in my, kind of mid-20s when I started doing this, was that sense of like, I'm just another dude and I don't have any worth. I'm not any worth, but I don't feel like I'm the man. So I'm going to go and prove myself. And that was kind of my initial push to get good at this, was to, and I'd say it was an immature motivation, but it got me moving. And then as I got through that, then I had to adjust and shift my motivation, because it's like, I don't need to prove myself to anyone or to myself anymore. Now, what is the point of me doing this? So the processes that a man would go through, yes, part of it is that it's going to be a longer term journey. If you're a 24-year-old guy and you haven't got much experience and you haven't made it in terms of your life, and who has when they're in their 20s as a man, it takes at least that decade to even figure out who the hell you are. But there's a coming to understand that as you start interacting with women more and more, hopefully you realize that what you thought you had to be or have to be interesting to women is not usually correct. Because now, especially now with the rise of Andrew Tate type guys, it's just boiled down to this really reductive idea that it's muscles and money and status, and that's it. And that women, and height, those are the only things that women respond to, unless you're at whatever the benchmark of each of those things, that you are like an incel and you'll be deleted from the gene pool. It's really, really a nasty way and an inaccurate way to look at attraction between men and women. Now, is there kernels of truth in that yeah, if you're, I don't know, jacked and rich and cool, do those things influence women? Yeah, in conjunction with what is actually far more important, which is what do women actually want from men. Now, of course, yeah, looks, and people will have preferences and so on. But I've taught thousands of men of all shapes, sizes, ages, and yeah, I'll see that, okay, if I get the odd really pretty boy, he'll get initially an easier reaction than the guy that's, short and not that pretty. But that they actually can both of them can absolutely succeed once they understand that women generally want a man that's going to be present with them, that can actively listen, that can lead, that can chill out and have some fun with her, and that can fuck well, and that is not a social liability to be around. So he's calibrated, right? He can hang out and she's not going to feel like, oh, this guy doesn't get it. And dresses decently and grooms himself and smells fine. And that's about it, right? That's doable for everybody. And you don't find that out until you put yourself in front of lots of different women and start dating lots of women. And otherwise it's easy to presume that, oh yeah, okay, it's only the celebrities or the gangster rich cool guys that get the girls. So there's that comes with experience. But on a really practical moment by moment level, dealing with approach anxiety. Again, I don't think it's the best term because it's not usually clinical anxiety. I would call it an activation of your body. Typically what happens, and I'll just run through this very, very swiftly, is that we have the stimulus of the woman. You see her and you want to talk to her, and then your body activates and does a bunch of stuff. Butterflies in the stomach, jiggling, sweating, grinding your jaw. There's all sorts of physical symptoms. And then almost immediately we then place a label upon that. That's my fear. I'm embarrassed. Oh no, I'm freaked out. And then that creates kind of a negative feedback loop, which builds this internal pressure inside you that feels uncomfortable. And so what do we do to get away from the discomfort? We remove ourselves from the situation. Then the discomfort subsides. And now we have set in motion a pattern. So that every time now I think of going and talking to a girl, it all sucks. Because it's just bad feelings, bad thoughts, and then I move away and I feel like a loser. Also,
when leaving, they will start to beat themselves up.
Right.
So it makes it worse.
Yeah.
It makes them even less want to go back.
Right. So yeah, you're training yourself that even the idea of talking to a woman is all painful.
Yeah.
And that's really unfortunate. So because the reality is, when two strangers meet or we're about to go into an unknown situation, it's extremely common for our body to get activated in all sorts of ways. There's cortisol levels rising, our heart rate increases. It's unknown. And so that's natural that happens. But as with all things in the universe, they reach a peak of intensity of some sort and then they change and shift into something else. It's not going to keep going until your heart explodes. It's that on the other side of that, this release of pressure is literally excuse me, hi, how you doing? And she says, hi there. And then you'll feel the body will start to relax and release. And then you'll say, and what's your name? Hi, I'm Sarah, and nice to meet you. And then there'll be a pause, and then it'll rise again, right? And this is the nature of two strangers meeting, is that and we've all experienced that at a party or something where you go over and you meet someone, and then suddenly there's an awkward moment, right? What is the awkward moment? It's neither of us know what to do in this present moment, so we're starting to feel physically tense. And then we could write all sorts of stories about what that means and how complex it is, but really it's not that complex. It's just the nature of two people trying to actually get into sync with each other who don't yet know each other, because when you're with your best friends, you don't usually feel that, right? You can sit there and just go like this for a while and then go, so do you think the world's flat or round? It doesn't matter. I think it's round, by the way. I'm not a flat. He's a flatty. I'm a roundy. We still get along. The odd couple.
It's turtles all the way
down.
How
do they get along? So yeah, it's instead what you can learn to do is to actually. I use basically Vipassana meditation, insight meditation technique, which is to scan the body and locate what's going on. All right, it's in my stomach. I'm scared. Let's not worry about the label. Let's not put a value judgment on it, because that's where we get this shitty story being written. No, it's like, okay, objectively, there's some stuff going on. It's pulsing, it's compression. Okay, let's observe it for a while, because often just shining the light of awareness on tension makes it resolve. Right? I don't right now. I don't know that I'm holding my shoulders up, and so I feel bad. And then if I bring my awareness to my shoulders and I go, oh, there's tension there that doesn't need to be. Oh, I feel better because I just was actually observing this. Instead of it just being an ambient feeling of like, oh, I feel bad, it's like, where is it? What is it? Define it in neutral terms and then allow it to resolve. So, that's practical techniques that I'll give guys is to scan and sweep and observe their body, to do really quick versions of that if they're in field. All right, it's like you see the girl, feel your feet on the ground, breathe in, sweep your awareness to the top of your head, breathe down, and then walk over and say hi. Right, it's a good way to just clear the mind, to not like try and but then what do I say next? Don't worry about what you're going to say next. Go and say hi, introduce yourself, and then you'll see that you got through at least that first wave of pressure. And then you see, oh, there's another one, and then maybe the guy bails on the second one. Okay, next time, stay in through two or three waves of pressure, and then either it won't work, it won't click, and it will be awkward in the sense that we never really sync up, and then the interaction ends. So be it, or both people figure out, relax, and then those waves of pressure, minimize until we're chill and we're enjoying being in each other's company. Okay, now you see that the process of approaching a woman is, I'm surfing these waves of pressure and release of tension, and then we get into a placid lake, or we get into the spicy fun version of pressure. right? Which is where flirting or qualifying or challenging comes in, because it's not that we want to necessarily only be super chill and be a flat line, but it's nice to be able to chill there. And then you can learn to become a master of pressure, where you can deliberately apply pressure or sit within it or play with it to, create sexual tension.
Hope you enjoyed today's clip, gentlemen. Now you've got some actionable steps on how to get over the dreaded approach anxiety. But if you'd like to supercharge this process and get your dating life sorted this year, then you should consider joining me and my world-class coaching team as we take a select group of men around the streets of Budapest, Hungary for a live inner game and natural style seduction dating workshop from the 4th until the 10th of April. If you'd like to find out more about that, click the link in the description. You can book in to have a free call with my team. They'll talk to you about your situation and see if you're the right fit for the workshop and if we are the right fit for you. So, click the link in the description, have a chat with us. Hopefully we'll see you in Budapest. And if not, see you in the next video. Peace.